Welcome back to Link by Golf. I'm your host Ross McGuire. In this episode, I'm joined by Mr. John Johnston, a lifelong golfer whose journey shows that the game's greatest achievements aren't always measured by trophies or scorecards. John takes us through unforgettable moments from competing the Senior Open to shooting an outrageous 61 at the age of 68. But as he shares, neither of those stand as his proudest golfing memory. Instead, it's a deeply personal story where he honoured his late brother by winning the club championship at Wishaw Golf Club with his brother's clubs. That truly defines what golf has meant in John's life. Along the way, John reflects on the lessons of the game, the friendships he's forged, and the grounding influence of yoga and mindfulness that keep him steady both on and off the course. This episode is brought to you by TrueLinks Wear. Head over to truelinkswear.uk to check out the latest range of shoes and apparel and support the brands that support the pod. This is a conversation about legacy, connection, and a deeper meaning behind the game we all love. Let's go over to John. On this week's podcast, I'm truly delighted to be joined by Mr. Johnson, my old maths teacher, or as you would say, John, my only maths teacher. Great to have you in the podcast. Thanks for joining.
Pleasure to speak to you, Ross.
Fantastic. And John, where I wanted to start is you qualified for the Senior British Open, and I don't know enough about that story, and I'd love the listeners to hear about it. So tell me all about how you qualified for the Senior Open when you were just after turning 50.
51. What kind of really led into that was, in a way, in my middle 40s, I totally and utterly lost the ability to play golf. It sounds strange because later I'm going to come to playing the Senior Open. I'll give you an example of how bad I was. And it was David Park, the professional, reminded me of this a couple of weeks ago. You know the 17th hole at Wishaw, Ross, is a par 3.
Yeah.
And for about 2 years, I played that hole, and the only way I could play that hole was to hit a wedge off the tee and hit a pitch for my second shot, because I couldn't keep it within the confines of the hole. I was so bad.
No way.
And
wow.
I was losing all interest in golf. And I was teaching at that point at Armadale Academy. And we used to take on a cohort of Egyptian teachers, and they would come in and shadow me. And the school and the department get paid money. I didn't get paid money, but the school did. And I used to go up at lunchtime, and they would come to me. They called me Mr. Billy, you there? They called me Mr. John.
Right.
So I was the only person that really talked to them. So I thought one day I'm going to go up to the driving range at Pokemon. And I said to three, I think 3 or 4 of them, I said, do you want to come up with me? And they came up with me. So I went to the driving range that day. And I was so bad, I was getting fed up. And I thought, I'm just going to aim out the right-hand side of this driving range and see if I can hit it back in. And whenever I did that, it clicked in. And I suddenly began to get my game back because I was getting so open that was either shanking or pushing everyone way right. Wow. And just by doing that, it transformed me. So at that point, I started to take an interest back in golf. And I was watching Sky Sports one day, and it was the British Senior Open in Ireland. Wasn't it Pro Trust? It was one of the other courses. I can't remember exactly which one it was. And there was this guy playing. It was an amateur, a boy called Roy Smethurst, who coincidentally I've played in the Scotland-England match and things like that recently in the last few years. But Roy Smethurst was on the telly, and he actually won the silver medal in the British Senior Open. And I was looking at this guy, and I thought, that's just fantastic. I fancy a bit of that. So I started thinking, I want to get a year or 2 to go. So I started taking a renewed interest in the game. And I've always played in the Eden competition up at St Andrews every year. I've gone there from about 1976. I've stopped now because I'm too old. But I actually won the cup there, the Victory Cup at St Andrews in 2002, which was when I was 49. I shot 71-68 in the new and the Eden.
And that is no mean feat. Both courses are pretty tough. I mean, new course is solid, and the Eden's no walk in the park. That's awesome.
At that point, I was probably playing just about the best game of golf of my life, and by that time I was a deputy head teacher at Colness, and no, it wasn't. That was a different year. So I was playing really well, and I thought, I'm going to have a go at the British Senior Open, and I entered. And the first qualifying was at Barassi. That was the year before. I actually made it into the Senior Open. This was in 2003. And I actually I got drawn by a guy when he walked on the first tee. I said to him, "Where are you from?" And he said, "America, somewhere in America." I said, "No, I mean, where are you actually from?" And he said, "No, I'm from America." I said, "No. I'm saying, whereabouts do you come from? Because I can tell you're near me." He said, "Well, actually, I was brought up in Hart Hill." So that's
No way.
so it was in Hart Hill. But it turned, I reckon the guy was somebody that picked up balls at a golf range in America and called himself a professional. You remember that film where the guy entered the hole? He couldn't. This guy he tore it up because he wouldn't have broke 100. Anyway, I didn't play that well and I didn't qualify. But the next year it was at Portrush. So my friend and I, David Walker, who I played a lot of golf, I still do, we looked at that and thought, we're going to have a go at that. And we'll make a boys' weekend. So we booked flights and everything, booked in Portrush, and I went over to Portrush, and it was a qualifying. I think it was on the Monday, and I finished double bogey for 3 over par, which qualified me. So I couldn't quite believe it. So before I knew it, I'd qualified for the Senior British Open. And I went along and I said to the woman, I remember going along to the and saying to the woman, "I'm here, I think, maybe to collect a player's ticket." And she got all this stuff and asked me how many tickets did I want, everything like that. It gave me a list of all the things I got. I couldn't quite believe it because I was then just some guy from Wishaw that was going on holiday and for the week over to Portrush. In fact, awesome. my caddy David, he informed me at that point that he couldn't caddy for me because he hadn't booked his holidays long enough. So he had to go home. He's the director of Jaya Radham in Glasgow. But anyway, I qualified for the British Open. It was a crazy situation. I couldn't quite believe it.
And you qualified round Portrush, so was that
No, I qualified, Ross, round the Valley course at Portrush.
Right.
Which I would say is every bit as good a golf course as Royal Portrush. It's that good that they nicked 2 holes for Portrush.
Yeah.
Because the last hole, the last 2 holes at Portrush didn't fit the definition of what they needed in terms of hospitality areas, etc., for the Open. So they moved 2 from the Valley up. So I shot, I think it was 73 round the Valley up. So I was suddenly faced with where am I going to stay and all things like this. But anyway, it was a real moment because I think the Tuesday was a practice day because I remember David and David is a Tom Watson groupie.
Right.
And what I discovered playing in that week is these guys are superstars. They're just guys that are good at golf who are decent guys. So everybody just treats you the same. They talk to you and smile and say hello. Of course, David, being a Tom Watson groupie, he couldn't go over. You walk into the players' lounge and Tom Watson would sit and say hello to you. And that. Anyway, we went up to the practice area, I should say. You don't call it a driving range, do you? Practice area at Portrush. And I hate practice. I never practice. I mean, I'm basically a weird golfer. I hate practicing. I'm no interest in it. So he insisted I go up to the practice area. So I walked up and there was a space. So I walked in, put the bag down, and I turned around. On my left-hand side was Isaiah Aoki. And on my right-hand side was Christy O'Connor Jr.
Oh, no way.
Guys,
wow.
You probably don't even remember these guys, Ross.
The guy.
Christy O'Connor Jr., not senior.
From Ryder Cup, man, on 18.
I think he probably did play in the Ryder Cup.
Aye, wow.
And we practiced away for 10, 15 minutes. I'm getting a bit bored. And a guy came up and tapped me on the shoulder. And I turned around and the guy said to me, because by this time one of the 2 others, I can't remember which one, had finished. I hadn't even noticed. And he said, "If you don't mind, is it okay for me to slip into the next booth?" It was Tom Watson. So I had the pleasure. I wasn't really wanting to practice because I hated it. But I stood and watched Watson practicing for about an hour. which was a lesson in itself, because what you learn from a situation like that is Tom Watson swings his wedge exactly the same as he swings his driver.
Yeah.
So it was quite a surreal experience. The problem was my caddy would not let me leave the driving range. He insisted to stay because Watson was next to us. And I must have hit hundreds of golf balls for
Wow.
somebody that doesn't practice. But the problem was the next day, the practice day, I had no feeling in my arms or legs anyway. But the practice day I played with, it was funny how things happened. I played with Bill Lockie and John McTeer.
Yeah.
I had somebody recently on mentioning Bill Lockie.
Yeah.
And I was playing at Wishaw last Friday with my friend David. And as we were going up the fourth hole at Wishaw, this buggy came over because a ball had nearly hit us. And the guy came over in the buggy and apologised for nearly hitting us, drove away, and David said, "You know who that is?" I said, "No, I never noticed." It was Bill Lockie. So we
Wow.
went down to the fifth green and over and talked to Bill and said, "You probably don't remember, Bill, the last time I saw that smooth, silky swing, it was in the practice day at Royal Pro Trust." So it's funny how things happen. So, but the whole thing was just a kind of like a dream.
I can
Everywhere
imagine.
you went, and people
That's
were asking for
incredible.
your autograph and stuff like this. And I'm saying, "You've got to be kidding. You don't want my autograph. I'm an amateur. It's not that. It makes it more valuable when I get everybody to sign it." So and I'm sitting here with a thing over there, and you get free things and this and that. But anyway, it was fantastic fun, but it was strange because none of my friends could be over there because it was
Yeah.
in Ireland. So
Because it was such short notice as
so
well.
I just went along and practiced my putting and sat and ate things and things. I went for a pint of Guinness. But anyway, it was very funny. We're actually talking a good time because I've just been watching the Open at Portrush in the last
Yeah.
few weeks, and all these holes, apart from the two new holes, I can understand what they're playing and what they're facing. But I played with two lovely guys. A guy, John, I think it was John Emery, a Canadian, and an Englishman called Mike Gallagher, who had been a good player.
Right.
But I don't think they were quite. It took them a while to adjust. I don't remember. I must be just about the fastest golfer in the world. I don't actually take a stance. My cousin did a video of me in my 20s, and we watched it recently because he got digital, put in a digital. And at that point, when I started my swing, my left foot was about 4 inches off the ground. My foot wasn't on the ground when I started my swing. So I remember it's Ivor Robson. You remember Ivor Robson dearly.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it was on. It was a big crowd too because Tom Watson and is it Romero, the big guy Romero. Tom
Uh-huh.
Watson and Romero were two lots in front of my lot. Don't ask me why. Sky must have scheduled it. So there were big crowds. So on the first tee, I always remember my favourite memory is in the first hole at Portrush. It wasn't like you see in the TV now where they had irons. It was a driver
Right.
because it was in those days it was quite long and
Yeah,
out
the
of bounds
pros.
right, out of bounds left. So you can imagine I was a wee bit nervous. And the feet Ivor Robson, I always remember saying, "Oh, on the first tee representing Wishaw, Scotland, John." And as he got to John, I went, I
Whoosh.
hit it. I hit it before he finished my name. So at the J, at the John, I drove. And
Trackman didn't have time to catch up with
no,
you. Brilliant.
no, neither of my partners saw me hit it. They didn't know where I'd gone. But
That's
the first,
brilliant.
but people look at my score, but you have to hear my first hole. So I hit my drive about 260 right down the middle. And at that point, I had a set of clubs called Pure Spin, and they were diamond crusted faces. And
Right.
trust me, you can only play about one shot and you had to change your ball because it ripped it to pieces. So the pin, it's a two-tier green at the first at Portrush. You'll have seen it in the TV, but it's
Yeah.
different in real life. And the pin was on the back level. And I hit an 8 iron, a fantastic shot. And I got real rapturous applause. But as I started to walk forward, the rapturous applause changed into a groan.
Oh no.
And as I walked, I saw this white thing appearing, and it rolled in about 20 yards into a bunker, and I had to chip it out sideways, and it made 6. But when I
What?
got up, the marshal told me my ball was right at the pin. He said it took one bounce from the bottom half, right on the top half, right beside the hole, spun, must have spun back 30, 40, 50 yards for us
Oh dear.
into the bunker. So I started with 6, and I never recovered it. And the fourth hole, because I 3-putted the second for a par. I knocked on in 2 the par 5 and 3-putted.
Right.
Parred the next hole, and I then had a great drive at the fourth, and the fourth's a really hard hole. I don't know if you remember seeing it on TV. A really
Yeah.
hard driving hole, and I had a fantastic drive. And boy said, "Great drive, great drive." As I walked off the tee, I said to him, "I think there might be a problem for some." I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "There's a guy up there waving a flag." And they're saying, "Don't be ridiculous." No, it's none of us. But then the guy kept waving, then the message, but I'd driven right over where you were meant to go, and I drove out of bounds.
Oh
I did it
no.
that well, I drove out of bounds. So,
Wow.
but it was fantastic. It
What
was
an
a
experience.
fantastic experience. The score's immaterial because the famous hole, I think, the par 3 near the end, Calamity or something like it's called.
Yeah, 16,
And it's got a huge drop to the right. It wasn't 16 then because the course was different then. And you've got all these people ball spotting. And I had a shot, and it was quite windy, and it just went a wee bit right at the green. And I walked up, and none of the spotters had seen me because I played that quick. They hadn't seen me hit the shot, so I'd lost my ball. Nobody could find it, and I had to walk back to the tee. So it was quite a surreal experience. From then on, I was just playing for fun. But it was
Yeah.
fantastic. Fantastic.
But what an experience, John, and
Oh,
that's
it is. But
just after you turned 50, so
51.
51. So
51.
take us back, John. How did you get into the game? Are you from Wishaw? I mean, I know you played at Wishaw, but
I'm a Campbell's Neston boy.
right.
I've been most of my life, which is an area in Wishaw. I don't know if you're the same area that Fraser McLaughlin's from.
Yeah.
Fraser's a Campbell's Neston boy. So I was brought up in East Muir Street, which is near the Campbell's Neston Miners' Welfare. And there's big fields over the back. And my older brother, Brownlee, he was off about 2 at that time.
Right.
So from as long as I can remember, I had a golf club in my hand. I was going over the park and play golf. But I joined Wishaw Golf Course in 1961.
61?
61.
Wow.
I had 3 clubs in a bag. 3 clubs were a wooden shafted, wooden headed brassy, a wooden shafted, wooden headed spoon. That's a 2 wood and a 3 wood in modern day, and I had a 5 iron with a metal face and a wooden shaft, no putter.
Wow.
So that's when I started playing golf, and I actually think that I'm adamant no kid should start golf with a full set of clubs, because the best way to learn how to play golf is to improvise.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
certainly had to improvise because I didn't have a putter. One of my brother's relatives gave me a putter when I think I was about 9. So then four putters. But that's when I started golf, 1961. And I'm not boasting, but I've always found golf pretty easy. Apart from I was in my 40s when I mentioned it. But at that point, I found golf pretty easy. I can't remember, even at that age, I could roughly knock it around Wishaw under 100. But
Wow.
Wishaw wasn't that long a course in those days.
But still, Wishaw's, it's always interesting. I mean, I used to go and play Wishaw and I'd play terrible, and you get into this false perception because it is shorter on the card, but it's pretty tight, and you get into the back 9 and the last 5 holes are really tough. I mean, you've got a proper finish to the course as well, and even in the middle, right, you get up 10 and it's a short hole, but it's a kind of small sort of rectangular green. get a living down the hill. There's
Uh,
all sorts of stuff going on.
I say to people, in my opinion, and I'm not biased, I think Wisha's just about as good a back nine you'll get in central Scotland.
Yeah,
It's a
it's a brilliant
wonderful,
back nine.
it's a
Yeah,
wonderful back nine. And Wisha
absolutely.
is now it's in fantastic condition. It's improved beyond, you wouldn't recognise Wisha now, Ross. You've been away for a wee while.
Yeah, I've
But
not played it for
a
nearly
fantastic
20
course.
years.
So,
Yeah.
and I just play. I used to just play golf there every moment I could during my summer holidays. I could be down there, and there's probably other kids at the same time. I would play maybe about 3 rounds in a day and get the bus down 3 rounds in a day, have about umpteen sandwiches, then back up the road. So that and and I played away at Wishaw, I think, when I was about, I think I was 15.
Uh-huh.
They invited me to play in the senior competitions, which was quite a big thing. Wishaw always at that time really were quite encouraging for younger golfers who were quite good.
I'd like to thank Oliver Wilson and True Links Wear UK for sponsoring the show. Let's hear from Ollie now.
The OG3 Pro is the natural evolution of the OG range. We have a wide toe box that allows your foot to work naturally in your toes display. We have a cushioned zero drop platform. It's flexible, minimalist to allow you to feel the ground. It's waterproof and an aggressive spikeless outsole. And of course, it's tour tested.
The guy before me really was a boy, Martin Shaw. You'll not have heard of him probably.
Right.
Martin Shaw was the top player in Wishaw as a boy. Maybe about 10, 12 years older than me. But when I was I'd be about 19, so I was about 15, they invited me to play in the medal. At that time I was off two, right? That was
Which was not easy back then as well. The handicap system was so hard.
A junior handicap.
Right.
And when I entered into the seniors, they asked me to put some cards in. And I put cards in, and you probably won't believe me, but the handicap they gave me was 15.
15?
And my brother said to him, I think you make a mistake here, because he played off two last year, but this Alistair McLean, the second member, saying, no, 15, that's his handicap. So at that point, the big competition in Wishaw was the Condy. It was the Open. And people used to come from all over to play in this. So my brother and I decided I was going to aim my season at the Condy. So I didn't play in a single medal before the Condy sheet went up. I put my name up on the Condy sheet. And then when the draw went up, we checked my name wasn't on it. And my brother said to the match secretary, John's name is not on the sheet. He says, no, that's because we've introduced a rule this year, you've got to be 18 to play now.
Oh,
which I think you only introduced because you knew I'd won it.
Wow.
So I then played my first comp ever medal at Wishaw the week after it, and I shot 75 scratch.
Wow.
And then the Saturday it was the club championship, and I was off 10 by this time. He cut me from 15 to 10. So my second competition, second round and third round, were the club championship at Wishaw that year, and I shot 74, and I finished fifth.
Wow.
So, and from then on, then that just, so as I say, fifth. And then I won the Lanarkshire Boys the year after, which was at Wishaw.
I didn't know you'd won the Lanarkshire Boys as well.
I won the Lanarkshire Boys at Wishaw. I think I shot 74, 75. I was a bit lucky though, because in those days it was, I hooked it out of bounds at 16, my second shot. In those days there was a wooden fence, you'll remember that.
Right.
So I hooked my next ball and had the fence come back in, it chipped up and made 6. And I think I won by 2 or 3 shots though. So I won the Lanarkshire Boys, 1969 I won the Lanarkshire Boys, and I started playing gents team matches that year. And then I played in the Scottish as well, the Scottish Boys. That was where I think Sam Torrance won it that year, just to give you an idea of the time when it was.
Wow.
But my problem then,
you're getting a chance to play against some real Scottish legends as well when
I
you go
didn't
away
play
from home.
against him, but he won it that year. I didn't do well that year because I used to have terrible problems with ganglions in those days.
Right,
So when I was scheduled to get into the Royal Infirmary in Glasgow to have an operation of the ganglion in my wrist,
right.
and it was 2 weeks before the Scottish boys. And when I woke up from the operation, I noticed, to my surprise, that the guy had operated on the wrong wrist.
Oh no.
Not only that, it got infected and I had a bump like a tennis ball, and I
Oh
had to
my
go and play in
God.
the Scottish boy with that, so I didn't do too well. But I really
Jeez.
enjoyed boys golf at that time. I played against Bartley Hurd 2 or 3 times. He was
Yeah.
unbelievable. He was unbelievable.
Yeah,
You're
what a
talking
golfer
about
Bartley Hurd
you're,
was. Incredible.
around about that time, the two guys that were totally out MDLC's league were Bartley Hurd and David Robertson.
Right.
You heard of him?
No,
He
no.
was the butcher's son from Dunbar or something like that.
Right.
I'm not going into details, but he didn't have the best of careers, legitimacy wise,
Right.
if you catch my drift.
Okay.
Whereas
Yeah.
Bartley was just a legend, but they were the top players of that age group, and Torrance, of course, as well.
Wow.
Torrance was a wonderful golfer.
And then, John, I mean, you obviously did well in sort of county golf and you're starting to play into Scottish events, but you also won, just like me, yours truly, you were my inspiration. You won the Scottish foursomes, the Evening Times
Yes,
foursomes. So
I did.
I'd love you to talk about that as well.
That came to the end of my university career,
Right.
because I was a university student who enjoyed themselves at university, and my golf, it was disproportionate to my enjoyment of university.
Right.
So
Okay.
I didn't do that great, but I started, as I came to the end of my university career in 1976. In 1975, the year before, I'd won the club championship at Usher for the first time. And the next year, I represented the club at Hamilton, which is funny because I've just played the last 2 days in a Scottish seniors event at Hamilton.
Right.
So I know very much about the course. So I played there with a friend of mine called Bobby McGregor, not the swimmer. Of course, you'll not know him, the swimmer. And
Yeah.
Bobby at that time, I think Bobby was off about 5, maybe 5.
Uh-huh.
So we played at Hamilton, and we were never out cruise control the whole week. And we won to everybody's great amazement and delight, because the first time was we'd ever won anything like that. We won the Scottish foursomes at Hamilton and went on to the following year, which I think would be 77, to represent Scotland in the European Club Championship at the Royal Golf Club de Belgique.
Wow.
Which was, for me, that week was very similar to my university life in that I enjoyed it to the maximum, shall we say.
But then you mentioned it there, John, so you won your first club championship in 1975, the year before I was born.
Yes.
And then this year, I need you to tell the listeners where you finished in the club championship.
Well, this year, 50 years on from my first win, I finished second. I was in the final group out, the final 3-ball against a young man who's won the championship many times, Callum Conacher.
Right.
And another younger man, Andy Olivan, and Andy went on to pick it up for the first time. It was nice to see him. But I managed to finish. I was 1 behind for second with 2 to go at Wisher, and I put my tee shot at the 17th, I would say, to an inch.
Wow.
And then
that's a tough hole. I mean, and you described how you really struggled with that hole as well for a few years.
That's the hole that gave me all the problems.
Yeah.
My highest iron now or my lowest iron is a 5-iron. And I probably need a 4-iron to hit that green. And I've ordered a 4-iron to fill the gap with Davy Park, but I haven't got it yet. Right. So I thought the only way I can go up there is to hammer this with a draw. And I put it to an inch.
Wow.
I was pretty tired, I've got to say. But I managed to hit that. I managed to hit the last with a drive and a 7 at Wisher, which was not bad for an old man.
You're doing okay. I mean, that's phenomenal.
So
that's awesome.
I finished second, but it was great to see Andy all when Andy's the current captain. So it's nice to see somebody as a captain and a champion in the same year.
That's
So
quite unusual as well, isn't it? I've not heard of many times that's
I think
happened either.
it's happened once before at
Right.
Wishes, but
Wow.
this is the first time.
Yeah.
So I finished second, but I gave him too big a start. I was 7 behind after one round. So
Right.
I managed to get back into it a wee bit, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I think that I was, how shall I put it delicately? I was cream crackered.
And then the thing, and I'm jumping around a little bit, John, but because I want to get to something about Wishaw, but I want to give the listeners some other context. So you said you struggled in your 40s and then you'd have come back, in your early 50s. But I mean, you've had these highs and lows and incredible experiences, but I need to get to some of the other things you played in. So you played also in the British Senior Amateur. So talk us through that
Yes,
as well.
I played the British team as an amateur. The first one I would play would be you had to be 55 to play in the amateur as a 50 for the professional. So it'd be 2008. My first ever go at the British amateur was at Royal Cinque Port.
Right.
And I have to say that is one absolutely magnificent golf course.
I've heard it's amazing, yeah.
It's unbelievable. I could not believe how good it was. But I had played in the professional British Open, but in the British amateur one, how shall I put it? I'd never seen any cut greens the way they cut these greens. So you played the practice round. I remember the first hole in the first round of the actual competition, and I had about a 20-foot putt, and I had about 25 feet past because the green was just totally different speed.
Wow.
But so I didn't qualify, but I really enjoyed it. And the next year was Old Prestwick, and
So
you'll have played Old Prestwick.
no, I've never had the pleasure of that yet either.
Old Prestwick is the most wonderful golf course for match play.
Right.
It's fantastic because holes can change so quickly. But it's the first time I had ever played Old Prestwick off the back tees. Some of the tees you walk back 60, 70 yards. So
Wow.
I really enjoyed that. I played really well that year. I finished 10 behind the winner. Now, the British Open really is half the field's from America.
Yeah.
They come from all over the place to play in that. So it's quite difficult to get into. But that year I finished, I think I was 11th.
Wow.
And I was 10 behind the winner. But
That's
the slight
incredible.
problem was, for 3 holes, Ross, I was 10 over par.
Right.
I had a quadruple and 2 trebles.
Sounds like my golf, John. Come on.
So, but I did actually that week play incredibly well. And
Wow.
I kept playing the British amateur as long as I could. Now I can't get in now. You need to go off with +1 or +2. But most of the times I played the big challenge is to make the cut, Ross.
Yeah.
It's hard to make the cut of these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think most of the time, apart from 2, I think I made the cut. I played some fantastic course. I played Portrush in the British Amateur and made the cut. But I knew that course well because I'd played it shortly before in the professional equivalent.
Wow.
I played Ganton. You played Ganton. What a wonderful golf course.
I mean, you're reeling off.
You ever played Ganton?
No, the Arnie venues
Ganton.
are just
Ganton,
so good.
I would describe as the only truly seaside course inland.
Right.
It's wonderful. It's timeless and wonderful. One of the greatest courses I've ever played. I would thoroughly recommend that to anybody. I played Walton Heath. I made the cut.
Wow.
In fact, my friend Billy Cardiff, Billy's a very good golfer. I think he's the secretary of the European Golf Association, Seniors Golf Association. And Billy Cardiff, the only
Is that
problem,
Billy Denham?
Billy Mitchell.
Right, okay.
The Scotsman who stays down in Surrey.
Right.
At that point, I really was shipping. And I thought, I went into the garage, I got my wife's dad's old putter, an old hickory looking thing, and I putted that. I just flicked my wrist with it. And I made the cut, and Billy was reminding me, I had a putt on the 9th at Walton Heath about in 33 or 34. And as Billy was saying, you were right in the mix, but I four-putted it, Ross.
Jeez.
And from then it was downhill. But Walton Heath's a really nice course.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a great course.
It's very tough. It's certainly very tough. I
didn't find it that tough a course. I don't think it's a really hard course. Billy's course is near there, Hankley Common.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got to that?
Yep, it's just down the road from me.
Have you ever played that?
No, not yet.
I will arrange a game for you there, right?
There we go. Brilliant.
Billy's Neck captain. That is one utterly wonderful golf course.
Yeah, I've heard incredible stories about it.
Hankley Common's right up there.
Brilliant.
You would thoroughly enjoy that.
And then you mentioned a word there, John, timeless. And I do need to get to this. I mean, this is ridiculous in a very good way. So, I mean, you've gone through different challenges with health. I don't want to get into those, John, but I know that you put a huge amount of effort in personally to overcome a lot of challenges physically. But at the age of 68, you beat your age, but I'd love you to tell the listeners about how you beat your age and what that was like.
Well, I beat my age in that, but it was just by chance, because I wasn't actually going to play in the medal. And I was playing a Scottish event the 2 days before at Liverton in Edinburgh.
Right.
I didn't have a really good score, but I thought, God, I was hitting the ball well. I thought, I might play Wisher tomorrow. So I phoned two of my old friends, Johnny Murdoch and Jim Douglas, and said, I noticed you've got a 2-ball, do you mind me joining? No problem. So I joined them, and it wasn't a very nice day. It was a horrible, kind of murky and wet, horrible day. But I think I started with a birdie. I birdied the par 5, it's quite easy, as you know. So I was 2 under after 6, and that's nothing fantastic, it's no bad start.
Yeah.
But I then birdied 7, 8, 9, 10. I'd hit every green. I thought, for God's sake, I'm 6 under par now.
It's like the picture of the Caddyshack.
The course record was 62, held by Gary Dingwall, who you know. Right?
Yeah.
And when I was 64, I was 7 under par playing the last in the medal.
Right.
And I was just short in 2, and I pitched up a foot short the hole. And I thought, if I get a 5 at the worst, I'm beating my age, which I'd never done it at 64. So I putted up to the hole that ran back. So I missed it with a foot putt for to equal the course record. Wow. And I shot 63. So I'm thinking, God, this is even better than I was in that round. So I then remember I missed the green at 11 by about a yard, and I got them down. And I missed the green at 12, got them down. So I was still 6 under. I birdied the 13th, which is quite straightforward. So I was 7 under. And at the end, I think, I didn't know this, but when we were on the 15th tee, Davy Park and Wally Denham were playing the 7th. But I didn't know that behind my back, my 2 partners had been telling them what my score was, right?
Right. So they just happened to come out.
No, they were playing. They were playing.
They were going to play anyway.
Time. And so I hit the green 15, 16, 17, quite close, and didn't hold any of the putts. And the pin at 18, I knew from when I was in the first, was the worst place up the back right-hand corner. You know, that green at Wisher, like, it's a horrible, big, long green.
Yeah.
So I was up behind the bunker on the right. So I made sure, I'm thinking, the only thing I've got to do is no go out of bounds. So I hit it. And when I walked up, I was on the edge of the rough, which was quite good. I thought, this will run. So I hit a 6 iron. Never hit it. One of these shots, you think, that's perfect. And I hit it to about 9 inches.
What?
9 inches. So I had a 9-inch uphill putt. And I was standing over it, I was thinking, whatever you do, don't do what you did the last time you did a putt for someone's score and leave it short. So I hold it for a 61.
Wow, that is unbelievable. What a score. At the age of 68. I mean, at any age, John.
I think people couldn't quite believe it. Oh, it's the only time and probably the only time it ever will happen. When I walked into the clubhouse, everybody stood up and applauded me.
No wonder. I mean, it's outrageous. Absolutely outrageous score.
I've always been, I can shoot good scores, but I'm not the most consistent golfer in the world, Ross. I can shoot some bad scores. But that was just crazy. But I do a lot of yoga now.
Right.
And throughout that round, I use my yoga techniques, my breathing. I do a lot of breathing techniques.
Uh-huh.
And I remember all the way through that, it was as if it was surreal. I wasn't feeling pressure. I wasn't getting worried. I was just doing my breathing exercise and concentrating on what came next. So I remember after it, I had to drive up to the caravan because I was meeting my wife. And the first person that phoned me as I drove in the Sanders, my phone went in the car, and it was Fraser McLaughlin. Phoned me from the Middle East to congratulate me.
Wow, Big Fraser. Good on him.
I never got a phone call from Gary Dingwall.
I'll give Dingy a wee call after this. Don't you worry about that. Ask him how he's feeling.
Tell him you've never played Hackney Common. I've never played Dornoch.
Right, we'll do a swap. You've never played Dornoch?
No, it's one of the few I haven't played.
Right, well, as Gary said to me, you need to make that a mission. So he made it a mission for me this year and I was able to do it. So we need to sort that out for you. That's unbelievable. Wow.
But normally what I liked about it a lot was it was with two old friends, quite a bit older than me. And Johnny Murdoch was a really good player, and Jim Douglas was a really good player. But the best thing about it was Johnny is the most beautiful writer. So I got him to fill my card in, and I've got him sitting here, and I'm looking up above there. It's up above me, and it's the most beautifully, written card. The way he writes is so fantastic. So I've got that there sitting up above me. I keep a wee eye on it occasionally.
John, what I need you to do is you need to send me a picture of that card. We're going to have to post that along with the podcast.
I'll send you a picture of the card. We're talking about but all these things we're talking about what I've done, Ross. None of them are the best things I've ever done at golf. The one thing I've done that's the best thing and it meant the most to me is you're probably not aware, but in 1981, my young brother was killed in a car crash.
Oh, I didn't know that, John.
Yeah. Alexander was 3 from Wishaw Golf Club were killed in a car crash in Hamilton. And I remember my brother Alexander had the most horrible set of irons I've ever come across in my life. They're called confidence irons. I think they were Ryder, I think was the make. And the size of the iron face was almost smaller than the golf ball was, right? They were horrible. So at his funeral, I remember saying to my mum, what I'm going to do next year, Mum, is I'm going to play with Alexander's golf clubs next year. I'm going to win the Wishaw Championship in 1982, and I did.
Wow.
I played with my brother's golf clubs, and I hated them, and I won the championship. So that's an even bigger achievement. That meant a lot more to me than shooting a 61. And my mother wasn't here from a 61, but it meant a lot to my mother as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, John, listen, you've been so kind with your time, and what a story to finish on about your brother. I didn't know that, and thanks so much for sharing it. I really appreciate you doing that. But John, I've loved having you on the podcast. Thanks so much, and I'm sure there'll be more people contacting Wishaw Golf Club to find out more about you. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. Let me just
finish by saying, people should not judge Wishaw Golf Course because it's Wishaw Golf. When Wishaw, it is the most fantastic golf course, and I wish more people would come along and see how good it is. And you would get a shock. You would get a shock. I played Cobbles recently. About a month ago, I played Cobbles. I know that's close to your heart.
Yeah.
But yeah, come and play it. That's the message I say to people.
Well, we'll get that in the podcast, John, and people should be coming to play with you. What a story. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it, John. It's been brilliant hearing from you.
No, it's nice to see that cheeky face looking out to me, Ross.
Brilliant. Thanks. That's it for this episode of Link by Golf. A huge thanks to John Johnston for opening up and sharing not just his incredible golfing feats, but the story that mattered the most, winning the club championship at Wishaw with his late brother's clubs. It's a reminder that golf is more than numbers on a scorecard. It's about memory, legacy, and the people we carry with us every time we play. If John's story meant something to you, make sure you follow Link by Golf wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Lomond Golf Tours have helped thousands of guests build bespoke golf trips to create a magical experience. Travel in style with our executive chauffeur travel, whether it's golf on a major championship venue or one of our hidden gems, 5-star accommodation or a boutique bed and breakfast, or is it whiskey tasting on a private boat? Lomond Golf Tours are here to help build the tour of a lifetime. Whether you're celebrating a special occasion or ticking it off your bucket list, embark on a trip that you'll remember forever. To learn more about our offerings for 2025 and beyond, visit www.lomondgolftours.com.